Hey, welcome back to this four-part series on conquering impossible goals. I'm Rory Vaden, co-founder of Brand Builders Group and New York Times bestselling author of Take the Stairs, Hall of Fame speaker, and I'm excited that you're here with me. And I want to pick up where we left off after our last video because we were talking about this process that ultra performers follow that is something that can be systematically reproduced and copied and deployed and implemented by you to accomplish the biggest, wildest dreams or goals that you have ever thought of, and that it's actually an extremely straightforward process, but it's one that a lot of people either don't know about or they know about it and they don't follow it, and so we're introducing it to you here. And in the last video we talked about kind of the power of the picture, and when you create and you lock your mind in on this picture of something you want for the future. But I introduced to you this idea that is unfortunately very, very true for all of us. The immediate ensuing thought that all of us have, like virtually all of us, is, oh, that's crazy, I could never do that. I'm gonna talk to you today about two very key things that you need to do that will help you overcome that so that you can conquer impossible goals. The first thing though that I want to say, and I want to let you know, is that if you have that thought, great, you're on the right track and you're in great company. For most of the people who achieve impossible things, they also have self-doubt. It's not that they don't have self-doubt or insecurity or disbelief or that they don't feel capable. They have it just like you do, just like I do. We're the same as them, like you and I are the same. The difference is what happens after that. Because what 99.9% of the world does is we accept it, and so we immediately move on from that thought and either never have it again, or the next time we see the picture, that same self-doubt creeps up and we lose to it again. So how do you get yourself to believe? I'm going to share with you two techniques for this. So the first one, programming. I use the word programming very specifically. Now, you might have heard things like self-talk, affirmations, all right? I would say this is in the vein of that. But I use the word programming very deliberately, just like I used the word picture very deliberately in the last training. And here's why I say programming. Because you have to know, you have to understand that your brain is no different from a computer. And think about how computers operate. Computers don't delineate between right and wrong, good and evil, right? Computers don't have a conscience. What computers do is whatever they are programmed to do. Even though you do have a conscience, even though you do have emotional intelligence, even though you do have the ability to logic and reason and rationale, the same is true for you. You believe what you hear most often. And so the things that we believe are more the result of repetition than anything, right? Like, let's say light bulbs, right? You probably believe that Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. Why? Because you've been told that, and you've been told it again and again and again and again. But I'm guessing that you, or most of you, have probably never actually taken the time to deliberately go back and really question that assumption. Did Thomas Edison really invent the light bulb? Like, how do we know it was him? But that is dangerous, right? So it's powerful. It's a way of, operating through life without having to question every assumption. But when it comes to conquering impossible goals, you don't believe what's true. You believe what's repeated. You believe what you hear most often. So if you tell yourself, that's not for me, that's impossible, that's what will be true for you. That's the program that you're writing for your brain to follow. But if you say, I can figure anything out, I can solve any problem, I know there's a way, I know that other people who have done this once felt like me, I know there must be a plan and a path. If you tell yourself that, it's not faking it till you make it. It's not going, I deserve to be this thing, or I think I was born to be this thing. It's about programming your brain the way you would program a computer to be proactive and deliberate and intentional. don't default to the accidental, unconscious programming, the natural programming of going, that's not possible. The primary function of the brain is not success, it's survival. For most of us, our wildest dreams are not about survival, they're about success, right? You don't need to become the top 1% to survive. Like you're surviving right now. So that's why you have to learn to rewire your brain when you're talking about success versus survival. So your programming is the second part of conquering impossible goals. You have the picture, and then it's the programming. Some of that programming comes from your self-talk, what you tell yourself about yourself. But here's the second technique that I wanted to share with you today. It also comes from your community, your environment, the people you are around. We believe the same things that the people around us believe, which can be good. But what you want is for that to be intentional, not accidental. So who are you hanging around? And what are they telling you to be true about you? And what are they telling you to be true about the world? You are definitely around people who help determine the limits of what's possible. In order for you to achieve success, whatever that looks like for you, financial, physical, relational, whatever, spiritual, you will have to do the things that those people do. You will have to think the way that those people think, and you will have to hang around the people that those people hang around with, because it shapes your programming. And your programming is the number 2 thing that drives and determines whether or not you will conquer impossible goals. The reason why most people don't conquer impossible goals is not because they're not capable of it, it's because they're either not aware of these truths or because they're not practicing them. It is that simple, which, by the way, is one of the reasons why we're putting on this Conquering Impossible Goals event. It's coming up. It's a full 2-day event that I will personally be walking you through and facilitating you through this entire full-fledged process. And if you're interested, you can go to roryvaden.com/CIG and you can find the details of all of this. Now, you're going to set the picture. If you can get yourself to clear on what you want, and then you can start working on your programming, the next thing that's going to show up is very practical in nature. It's, but now I literally don't know what to do. And in the next training, I'm going to talk about exactly what to do. Stay tuned for the next training. We're going to talk about part 3 of this journey, which is all about how do I know what to do and figure out what to do next. So stay tuned for that. I'll talk to you soon.